Sometimes I use my nightly dreams as a tool for personal growth, especially in times of transition in my life. I've had a reoccurring dream for the last 20 years. In this video, I will take you on the journey of trying to untangle this dream and see what it beholds for me of resources and realizations of maybe patterns that restricts my way of living. So if this resonates with you, you are welcome to join me on this journey. My name is Gitte Olesen. I am a Danish woman. So as you can hear, it's not my native language, and I sometimes struggle to find the right words, but I believe I can make myself understandable, and I'm sure we will work it out. A little bit about the background story for this particular dream is that 20 years ago, I was working as a kitchen leader in a boarding school, and I had a big, massive crash and burn crisis, identity crisis. I had to do a 360 degrees cleanup in patterns and stuff. And I had a sick leave from my job, and I ended up getting fired. When I felt that I was about to be healed on this journey and ready to get back to work, feeling like a whole new person, my leader gave me the boot, and the explanation he gave me for firing me was that because of the stuff that I had worked through myself, because of my own vulnerability, he and the board believed that I would no longer be able to work with the kids that was placed on this boarding school. This was kids with different kind of challenges, and they came from families that were challenged, and they had different problems in the baggage. But I felt that this leader could not have been any more wrong, actually, because now I knew the way. I had been working through my stuff. I knew the way through. I knew the way out. I knew that it was possible to be a whole person again and all that stuff. Anyway, this dream that reoccurs, especially in times of transition in my life, is related to that situation. And I find that my subconscious is in all of us probably, is so clever that it will choose symbols that are specially designed for you, specially designed for me, to provide a symbolic language that will appeal to me, that I will have the best chance of understanding. And for you, it will be something else specifically designed for you to make you have the best shot at understanding it. Okay, so I told you the background story for this dream that reoccurs for me. It comes in different packages through the years. Like the scenario will be slightly different, but it's like the theme is the same. Of course, when I got fired back in the days, I had a feeling of complete and utter rejection of who I am, because the skills that they dismissed me upon was my being, my vulnerability, my personal experiences of going through trauma, which is something I'm pretty, identified with. It's my story. It's kind of my essential soul skills in a way. So it hurt me really bad. And a theme that is probably following me along, or has followed me along through all those years, is that I have to struggle a lot. I have to like climb mountains to get success, to kind of make it, and I have to bend over backwards and compromise a lot and work extra hard, stuff like that. And at the moment, I am in a transition period in my life. I kind of feel like something new is on the horizon. I want to live more aligned. I feel a big calling, an urge to express myself truly in the world, to pass on a lot of things that I have learned through my personal growth, through my crash and burn back in the days, but really also through the personal growth that I have gone through in the 20 years to follow, because I'm still on the journey. Every day is a path of awareness and growth and finding meaningful life and everyday happiness. And it would be such a joy to inspire and share that with the world. So maybe you can use it in your life to find more meaning and to find more inner peace, and ultimately to get this feeling of everyday happiness and gratefulness for life. Just like things usually work out just the way they're supposed to, often we can see it in the hindsight. But for me, it also worked out to be pretty meaningful on the path that I went on the following years, because I stopped being a kitchen leader, and I took an education as a psychotherapist, and later on as a spiritual mentor, kind of, not in a, spirituality. It can sound so huffy fluffy, but it's actually in a very grounded way that ultimately means stuff about bringing it into your everyday life. So the spirituality is not about being out there. It's about really connecting inside, have an open heart, meet people from a more connecting, open space, even when you're in the supermarket, So it's about being present in life. But it always goes hand in hand with the personal growth, because you have to clean up your projections and be a good person. Work on taking responsibility for own life and stuff like that. Okay, anyway, this dream, it was longer than I am going to tell you, because when I woke up, I could only remember a little bit. But I always trust that what I remember beholds the message that is the most important for me. And my experience is that often our dreams, even if they are long, sometimes they're long like a movie, but every scenario will be a repetition of the same theme, even though the scenario is different. So if I capture just a small scenario of the dream, that's what I will work with. In this dream, I'm walking into a big kind of hall. It's very formal, very clinical, very impersonal. It's like it has tiles all over the floor, dark gray tiles, like granite tiles or something, all polished from wall to wall. And from wall to wall is a huge big staircase. It's only 3 or 4 steps high, but the width is like wall to wall. On top of the stair is wall to wall glass, like New Yorker kind of glass, you know, with those smaller, I don't know what you call that in English, but like small windows put together, divided with black thingies. And there is a glass door also that is a little bit slightly open. I am walking up to the second last step, and I'm looking through the glass wall and the glass door, and I can see my boss, the boss that fired me back in the days. I can see him through the glass. He is a little bit bent over his desk, and he kind of just looks a little bit and quickly down at me, but with a big indifference, like he doesn't really notice me and there's no connection. Down a bit to my left, I have a sensation of my former kitchen assistant, that her presence is there, and it's like she had gotten a position working with the kids in this school. And I feel that I had been promised to work with the kids in this school, and that's what I'm going to talk to my leader about. And then I wake up. So I'm kind of stuck on the second last step of the staircase with the feeling of no contact, and that he doesn't see me, and that he doesn't care. And I feel dismissed and rejected, and I feel that it is unfair that this colleague of mine got a position with the kids, working with the kids. So kind of my mission is to put that straight, and it doesn't really happen. So that's a dream. And what I carried with me for all those years was like a wound somewhere inside me saying nobody wants what I have to give. Somewhere inside me that lives, and that's what I'm dealing with at the moment. That's what I am dealing with in this transition of my life. A wound telling me that nobody really wants what I have to give to the world. That's like my belief structure. And you know what? I am so done with it. I am so done with it. I don't want it to limit me anymore. Please, I don't want to let it limit me anymore. So I'm working with that issue. And that's how I can use this dream, because the more I see it, the more I realize it, the more I can take my own power back, because I realized I've given this guy my power. Like I left it in his office when I got fired. And, you know, a lot of times I work with my dreams on my own. And I will also give you at the end of the video some tips and tricks to how you can work with your dreams on your own. But there is various ways of working with dreams, but that will be another video. It will be too long to put into this one. Since I am already having sessions with my own therapist and mentor, I will take this dream to the next session to work with him. I just came out of the therapy session, and I've been working with this dream I told you about. I feel so mushy inside, mushy and relieved. It was a really good session. I feel much more aligned with the leader figure from the dream inside me, what it represents inside me. My therapist made me go into the dream, sit with my eyes closed and go into the dream like it was happening right now, and describe everything that happens in the dream like it's present time. So I was explaining what I saw, what was happening, but also what I felt. And my therapist is really good at, holding space. Holding space. He sits there holding space, and he has this really good intuition about when to say something and when to be quiet. Because when I have a feeling of something in the dream, like feeling helpless, powerless, dismissed, feeling that nobody wants what I come with, and when we sit there quietly and I just sit with my feeling, it will slowly transform into something else. And in the dream, I was walking up the stairs to my boss at the time in his glass office. The door was a little bit open, and I stood on the next, on like number 2 step near the top. And in the dream, I ended up taking the last step, go to the office door, and it was slightly open. And I said hi, opened the door, and went inside. And he made a gesture with his hand and invited me to sit down across from the desk. And then my therapist asked me, what do you need now? Do you need to say or do something? And what I needed was not dialogue. It was not going into, argumentation or talking about or debating things. Because I really needed to be seen. I needed to connect and be in contact without words. I needed for him to see me. So I was quiet, and we just sat there. And eventually, I guess I kind of felt compassion for him, because, a few years ago, this boarding school ended up closing, and he was all over the media for not doing a very good job with the children in the end. And of course, he has done some mistakes, surely, and he has not been able to take responsibility for some things that was his responsibility as a leader of the school. But when I read about it in the papers and I heard about it in the media, I also remembered all the good things from that school and all the good things that he also did. And the world is never black and white. Black or white. There's gray areas. But if there is some kind of karma, I know that he has been forced to confront his own inner self. He has been forced into being vulnerable and powerless and whatever else. that I felt at the time. But also in this therapy lesson, I realized that what I thought from the meeting where I got fired, that he was projecting onto me. I thought he was projecting, that he was not able to contain the feelings that arised in him when he sat across from me, who had been working through this traumas that I had. And he said at that time, we don't believe that you can work with vulnerable children that has been through some of the same things that you have. And I felt that he was not able to contain an employee having some emotional difficulties. But what he was actually projecting was, you are not able to work with that kind of children. Because obviously he was not able to work with that kind of children. The whole school closed. He went to trial, I think. He was prosecuted for different things, and he also got off. He didn't get convicted, or whatever you call it in English, but that was like a new recognition or a new layer of it that I realized today. But in working with this dream, I had the feeling that after a while, sitting across from him in the chair across the table, I felt that I was feeling myself out. I was feeling myself. I sat well in the chair, and I felt that I was in my comfortable power. And he looked so helpless and vulnerable. And then I had compassion for him. And then it kind of transformed again. So we were like equals. And it's just a fact that nobody knows if and who and how many will receive what we feel we have to give in the world. But some will always want it, because I know my kids and my husband and my family and my friends, they want what I have to give in this world. So nothing is ever wasted. Nothing is ever wasted. Okay, I find that in working with dreams, just asking for dreams in specific situations, writing them down, or talking to your audio app on your phone, sharing it with your friend or your wife or husband or whatever, and talking about it, saying it out loud, that will often in itself cast more light into it. Always remember what you felt in the dream when you dreamt it, and kind of go through it in present time. Walk the dream like you're there right now. That's one really good way of working with it, and shine some light on it. And think that all parts of the dream is yourself. It's sides of yourself. So that's one way. So what I actually did after this session and the realizations that I took with me from this dream was that I asked for another dream and more clarity. Like, can you please unfold this even further? And then I went to bed with that intention in my mind. And I got 2 dreams that following night. And And that really clarified something for me even further in this process. And if you want to follow me along for that unraveling and also get more inspiration in more different ways to work with dreams, watch this video coming up here. Thank you very much for watching.